Okay, yeah, I'm Jeff Gahris. I'm a candidate for the Forest Preserve District and District 4 of DuPage County. And so I'm here with Jody Trendler of the Resiliency Institute based here in Naperville. And we're at the Ferry Forest Garden. And just want to mention at the outset, this land was, there were people here before us, the Potawatomi, the Miami tribes in particular, maybe the Illini tribes, and they lived off the land in their own unique ways. But we got away from that living off the land thing, and we got into agriculture. It became very large industrial scale stuff. But there's an interesting experiment going on right here, and we want to talk about that today. And I had also supported the Garden Works project, which is a different kind of gardening than this. So this is uniquely different from the Garden Works project. Each of these projects are addressing a community need, I think, and each have a unique contribution. But I'm really excited about what we're talking about today, the Garden Works project, and I'm hoping that you would consider a donation, I'll put it this way: if you donate to my campaign over the month of July, the next couple of weeks, I'll give half of it to them. We'll write a check and we'll make a donation to to the Resiliency Institute, and support the great work they're doing. And so at this point, I think I'll just turn it over to Jody, and she can describe the Institute and what they're trying to do and what this space here is all about. So go ahead, Jody.
Thanks, Jeff. So happy you could be out here today, especially since you were one of our wonderful volunteers that helped us get it started 6 years ago already, amazingly enough. So yeah, this Ferry Forest Garden, we're out here on Ferry Road in North Naperville, border with Warrenville. And essentially what this project is, it's an example of ways to build food security in our communities. So this is a public open space that is owned by the county. So this is county-owned property. And wonderfully enough, we are located right along the Illinois Prairie Path. So if you are somebody like Jeff, an avid biker out here enjoying all of our wonderful trails that we have here in DuPage County, this is an oasis spot for you, a destination spot, so you can come and park your bike and relax and explore and hopefully have a snack while you're here. So the idea behind our project is it's about 1/3 of an acre, and what we've done is we have set up, essentially we've built, think of an edible park is what it is. So it's perennial based food growing, food production. And it's all based on growing with fruit trees and nut trees and all different types of perennial vegetables, berries, shrubs, and all of the plants that we use together in a permaculture design in order to essentially build an ecosystem. So what we're designing here is an ecosystem. So if you think of going to the forest preserves, it's what we're doing, except what we're doing is we're putting in all the plants that we can use as people as much as our wildlife. So we like to support the pollinators and the birds and the bees and everything as well. But the idea behind a forest garden is that when we support the birds and the bees, we also want to support ourselves. So we absolutely incorporate a lot of our native edible species. So we have gooseberries, currants. This is a chestnut tree. So we have walnut trees. So we have a lot of native species. You've got spice bushes, service berries. So a lot of things you can find, hazelnuts. A lot of species that you can actually find already in our forest preserves. It's just that we put them together and show you and provide a place where you can actually eat them and taste them and experience them. So, and especially now with everybody's awareness of food security right now, especially with our COVID situation, people are much more aware that we are really not food secure. Even in our, very abundant county here in DuPage County, people are realizing how much at risk we really are here.
I noticed empty shelves at grocery stores back in March or April.
Exactly, yes. So I tell people, if you rely on the grocery store for your food, you're not food secure. So yeah, you may be able to afford that food at that grocery store as long as it's there. So, and it's like we're experiencing the disruptions in our food supply and our food chain. So, it's like the meat producers and some of the vegetable producers. So with climate change happening, that's affecting water and, agricultural crops, the way they grow, in areas not around here where all of our food comes from mostly. So this is an opportunity, a way of teaching people of things that you can do on open space. So instead of growing resource-intensive lawn, we're all about growing food security and making our communities more resilient.
Yeah, I've noticed that a lot of younger people in their 30s, they're starting families now, and they've got young kids, and they're concerned about the health of their kids. So they're starting to find ways of growing food at home. They're even learning canning, which my mom did.
Yes.
I grew up in this rural area, and we had trees and we had farmland. They were using chemicals because that was the way the world was.
That's the way it was, yeah.
But it was interesting to see how we had food on our property. We grew vegetables and stuff. And the
Yes.
vegetable annuals is very labor intensive.
Yes.
And I'm doing that now to some degree.
Well, we don't say one or the other. It's like we really need them all. So we need all the food growing potential that we can. Yeah, I grew up the same way. My dad always had a big garden. And it's like I just remember sitting in the garden and picking the tomatoes and just like eating them fresh off the vine. While they're still warm, and it's just like the juice runs down your face, and it's just like, oh, it's so good. And being able to eat the sweet corn like right off the corn stalk, because it's so sweet and tender. It's like that's it's like we don't grow food for taste anymore. So it's like it's like I just remember how good things tasted when we grew it ourselves. So which is why I'm very happy that you are running for county office.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Because I know these things are important to you, and you understand them, and you understand the connection and the resources that we have here in our county, and with the forest preserves. It's like it's not only a natural place to recreate, but the value that they provide conservation-wise, which is the other thing that our forest gardens do. So
and clarifying one other thing is Jody and I work on this DuPage Clean Energy group, and we're interested in solar. One of my priorities for the forest preserves and for the county as a whole is just have more solar energy. And it is being installed. I think they're talking about putting it in the Willowbrook Wildlife Center.
Yes.
That's actually going to happen, I think.
Yeah, that's a big project.
We voted on in a week, I'm hoping, and so. There's a lot of things like that going on, but we have a lot to start with. 11% of the county is forest preserve, and some of it is high quality land. I think because with the glaciers came through and did some interesting things to the topography here. So there's places with a lot of heavy clay soil, so it's a challenge. But for me anyway, where I live, it's all clay basically. But people put down fertilizer for 50 years and it did nothing for the soil. The soil is terrible, even though it grows grass.
Exactly.
And so we're trying to rebuild the soil and everything. But the forest preserve, you get out there and you get different types of ecosystems. You have prairies, a lot to work with. So that's one of my priorities, is just protecting that, restoring it. Some areas that may have been farmed, we still have work to do. And a lot of money is being spent already. And we're right next to the prairie path here, and I rode my bike here, but they're talking about interconnecting trails, and I want to push that. As many, should be able to ride your bike anywhere in the county.
Yes.
Except, maybe Oak Brook Hall.
Right.
but even that's possible.
That'd be a little hard carrying your packages, but yeah.
But at any rate, it's there's a lot of natural areas that people are taking advantage of. They're free for people, and so any income level, I believe that everybody should have access and feel comfortable there and feel safe. And we're doing a fairly good job of that already. And my dream would be to have a permaculture garden, let's say at the edge of a forest, where the forest is part of that ecosystem. Because my thought is that the forest, it's not like a zoo where you stick something over here. It's
right.
Like we should be living. We are if you go to the top of what they call Mount Trashmore over here in Warrenville, the top of that. Where you go tubing in the wintertime, you get up there.
Mount Hoy, yes, the Blackwell.
You get up there and you look, in the summertime, you look west toward Warrenville, all you see is trees. You don't even see Warrenville except that there's a water tower, maybe it gives you a clue. But, it's so Warrenville really is part of our ecosystem. And we're between Warrenville and Naperville now, and there's a lot of commercial development going on around here, but you can still see green.
Right.
And if we can just keep these green corridors connected, that's good for wildlife too, I would think.
Yes, absolutely, and that's where our forest preserves are so valuable in maintaining that connection.
And we need something for the birds and butterflies and everything else. And so having gardens like this that are food production areas, I think is exciting because they can sustain us, but they also sustain nature.
Exactly. So it's all about integrating it's about integrating us as people as much as it is, our wildlife and our, it's like, that's what I try to explain to people. It's like the more we meet our needs locally, the more that we can provide for ourselves as close as possible, the more resilient we are and the less resources we consume. And, the better it is for everything, climate change or natural resources, whatever it is. So, that's our objective, is to try and provide as much for us that our human needs as we can within our garden. So it's like we grow a lot of medicinal plants, and we teach people how to, use those plants as much as the food. So, and there's other plants that you can use for other things as well. It's like we have our nettles back there. Those are a fiber plant. So it's like, teaching people how to use all these plants in all these different ways. We have so much abundance around us. It's like trying to teach people to get over their green blindness. So it's like, it's like they go to the forest preserves and, it's like they enjoy the space and it feels so good. It's like people go there because it feels good. But it's like, why does it feel good? It's like, and then once you get people to pay more attention and educate about what's actually there, their green blindness goes away. It's like, and as we've had people say, it's like they see things with new eyes. And it deepens that level of connection and then that value for our forest preserves that we have. And so once people really start to value our forest preserves and everything they're providing for us as people, that's why, they're so important to us. And that's what's going to make us resilient and keep our county and all of our communities as, healthy as possible.
And what is this, for example, since this is right here?
So this is a chestnut tree. It's actually a hybrid chestnut tree between an American hybrid and a Chinese hybrid because, as you may or may not know, our American chestnuts that dominated the eastern portion of the United States were all wiped out because of fungus. So there are still groves that are growing in very few areas, but they're very rare. And they'll grow for a while, and then the fungus will come and it kills them down, and then they regrow again from the roots. But it's like you don't get these. So chestnut trees used to be these gigantic, amazing creatures that they're just huge trees. And so they were cut down, and then what was left, was wiped out by the fungus. So we're helping to hopefully restore at least a piece of our ecosystem. It's not exactly 100% native, but it will support the species that do thrive around chestnut trees. So, so our Lepidoptera species, and so all the things that like chestnut trees that survive around them, like our oak trees, will support. So.
And I know you have a lot of ideas percolating and so much potential for DuPage County. But have you thought about having like a permaculture certificate program where somebody could have a certified yard where they not just take the classes you offer, but just they put it into practice and say after 5 years, the yard has reached the point where you could say this is an official permaculture yard.
Yes, we are actually working on the criteria for that, and we do have signs. So we do have, so it's like you'll see the Wildlife Federation and the Monarch Projects, the Conservation Foundation, which is another amazing organization to support, doing amazing work in our county and Northern Illinois here. So yes, we do have a growing food security yard program. So absolutely.
Oh, wonderful.
So yep, we encourage people to do this at home as much as in our public spaces.
Oh, okay, super.
So yeah.
So I'll probably just end it by reminding people that that I support this to the point where I want to give half the money that's being donated to my campaign to the Resiliency Institute, and I think it's very worthy. So it'll be a 50-50 split here for the next couple of weeks, and look forward to people looking at that seriously, and they could donate it to your organization anytime in the future too.
Right. So yeah, we have a donate button on our website.
Yes.
But it's important to have people like Jeff in office that actually understand this concept. It's like they understand it and they support it. It's like I said, Jeff was out here. He helped us get this project going and get it established. I know he's got stuff growing at home in his own yard. So he firmly understands it and believes in it and values the potential that we have to build resiliency in our county. So
it's a pleasure working with you over the years, Pipe. And I think I was here 6 years ago originally.
Yep, exactly. And other projects you've helped us with.
So the donation link for my campaign is at Jeff4, that's number 4, the Roman numeral 4. And it's Jeff4DuPageForests.com.
Okay.
So Jeff4DuPageForests. And when you see the video, it's probably because it's linked to that web page anyway.
Yes.
But or through Facebook.
Well, no, we'll be sharing it. So share the video. Share this video with your friends. If you believe that these types of projects are important for our county and can make a difference, and it's something you believe in, please share this with your neighbors. Post it in your neighborhood groups, or with your friends that live near you. So it's important that we get this messaging out. So thank you, Jeff. Thank you.
Okay. Have a good day.